Am I live?
I don't know.
Was that loud? I don't know. I want to have headphones on. My hair's gross in the morning. It clings to my neck. I hate everything about it. I hate the way it feels. Because it doesn't have time to fluff out. It's also real nice and long too. Which, I don't know how I feel about it. Because this is the longest the back has been. The top must have been cut shorter than normal, apparently, when I got it cut the last time. Because, or maybe just because I'm balding, I don't know. Basically, I don't know. But I need to do something quick. I need to add something and find a way to, oh fuck. How am I gonna do this? Something for later. I think I know how to do it. Yeah, I do. Alright. I'll just add a new scene. Alright, so basically what this stream's gonna be is just me talking while drinking coffee. Because I just felt like it. What's a VLC video source? Is this just adding in a video? It sure is. I don't need that. How do I do this? Oh, that's how. It's been a while since I've goofed around in OBS. Last time I did was, I don't know, probably when I first started streaming, because after that I was like, okay, I know how to do everything. And the last time was probably when I was adding in the intermission screens, like the soon, the BRB, and the end. But when I did the YouTube stream, they broke, so I was like, or no, I think it was some other stream I did on, I think it was on Twitch actually, but yeah, I did that, and then I just entirely just broke, so I don't know. So then now I just have text being like, soon, be right back. I think it's like actually just soon, be right back. Here, I'm gonna switch to those scenes. You're not gonna hear me, but I want to see. It's pretty close to what I thought, and I didn't mean to go to this scene. Mainly because I was clicking on the actual scene buttons in OBS when I usually use my keypad. I was thinking about buying a cam link too, but the one I would want is 8 of them because it comes with 6 buttons, 15 buttons, and 32 buttons. All very expensive. The 6 button one is $100, but I would want 8 ones so I can have all my scenes, and I could also mute in Discord. But I also saw that it doesn't support Discord, so I wouldn't want that. The main reason why is because I just have the dot, the period key, I guess you'd call it, the decimal point key on the keypad, that and delete. I have that as my mute button. I'm sure you'll hear it. Oh no, you won't, because I'm in streamer mode. But it does do it, right? Yeah, it just didn't make the noise. But basically, it just does the Discord. It just does that. But yeah, I have that. So whenever I'm like using the calculator and typing something in, and it has a decimal point, I'm just like, ugh. So I usually go into settings, remove that keybind, and then I keep that open, so the next time I open Discord, I then remember to add the mute button. But yeah, I'm unshowered. I woke up maybe an hour ago, or no, like an hour, almost 2 hours ago probably. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so you're seeing me in the rawest form, the earliest form. Well, no, that's not true. The earliest form was when I did the 12-hour stream, but then YouTube said, fuck you. And I said, fuck. YouTube said, fuck you. And I said, fuck you. But yeah. Hopefully this stream doesn't get taken down. But I am constantly looking at the video manager, because I have nothing else to look at. Aside from myself over here. What is my hair? It looks very mullety. But yeah, it fluffs out so much. It fluffs out. It's so long because I was scratching my back and I had my hand under my shirt. I was scratching like up here-ish, and I felt my hair. I was like, Jesus, it's long, because it's like just about getting to my back. It's just about sitting on my shoulders. It kind of like hovers normally, but like this, I can see that it's sort of sitting there. It's so long. And granted, I did want to go a year with growing it out, so quarantine's a perfect excuse to do it. So I guess if I really needed to, I could like have my mom, or I might be able to do it myself, but just trim the back, because the top is fine, because the way I know to cut the back, or to cut the front, I mean, it's when, this is how it was last time, but before I cut it short, it was curling up into my nose, and it doesn't really do that right now, but I don't know if it would, because I keep pushing it over more and more just to be like, I want you to see my shitty hairs here that are regrowing, so I shouldn't complain, but I hate it. You were able to see because I haven't showered, so it doesn't blend in. But yeah, I'll probably shower like right after this, because I'll be entirely transparent. I didn't shower yesterday either, just because I was like, I don't feel like it. So my hair's, it doesn't look that bad, but it makes me feel gross, and it feels thin. It feels real thin too, because like I said, I'm balding. But yeah, so there's a story. So the way I found out I was going bald, so I get a shipment of like hair regrowth stuff, like shampoo, topical solution that I don't use, because it says if you're under 18, don't use it. And I said, okay. That, and also I've heard that it kills the follicle, and then it like regrows it or something like that. I'm not sure. I haven't looked into it that much. I need to look into that, because the top feels like right here where my headphones sit feels like it's getting thinner than the rest of it. But yeah, the sides are thick as fuck, because the sides of your hair don't fall out. I just spit a lot. But yeah, your sides, they don't leave. They're forever, basically. I don't know what makes those follicles different from the top of your head, but I don't know. But basically, that's thick, because I use the thickening shampoo. It's just this stuff. I have it because I have a bunch of extras, because like I don't shower every single day. I don't like to go more than a day without showering, though, so don't think I'm that gross. But it was so bad, like 2015, 2016. It wasn't until like 2017 probably I showered almost every day, because it was like every other day. But there would be like a week I wouldn't shower, and my hair, there's one thumbnail in particular in a Dark Wolf Vlogs video. Oh, it was so bad. You could tell, because it looked like it was still wet, and I definitely was not. But it was basically like, this is perfect because my hair fell like right there. It was like that, but it was like curly, and my hair wasn't curly whatsoever at the time. So it was just like, it's like a little Superman like thing, but it was just like hanging out down here, and then the rest of it was like up, and it looked like it was like gelled or something like that, or wet, and it looked so gross. Like looking back at it, I was like, ugh. That's why in a lot of older videos, like if I was doing dailies and I hadn't washed my hair, because I would shower, I think, I don't know, but I would shower, but I wouldn't entirely I wouldn't wash my hair. I'd rinse it, but I wouldn't wash it, so I wouldn't use shampoo. But those are a lot of the videos where I would where I'd wear like a hat or something like that. And I think I'm turning into a little bit of a hat guy, like a beanie guy, because I'd wear that over a hat, like a baseball cap or something like that. But yeah, and also it's getting to the point where it looks neat because my hair is long and it's like almost on my shoulders. The way I wear it, my hair sticks out a bit at the bottom because I never really wore hats before when I had long hair. Not the last time for sure, but then also not in 2016 when I had it. But yeah, I don't know. I look goony in it though, and also in the camera because the LCD view, it looks different from what it looks like on my computer monitor. So it looks like the hat blends into the background, but it looks fine on stream. So I'll deal with that, because a lot of times in videos I will a lot of times before videos, I mean, I will pull up OBS. Well, I record in OBS, but I look through OBS and I'm like, hey, how's it look? And they're like, okay, it looks fine. But yeah, also I have a light up here, and I don't know if it does much for lighting, but it gives me a more, oh, it does get mainly just me. It gets over there a little bit, but that's kind of just where the light is angled. But I don't know, it does its job. Yeah, it doesn't brighten the background too much, but it also illuminates the whiteboard a little bit. But yeah, I like my lighting setup. Well, I say that, but no, it actually looks really good. It's kind of what, like, the ideal way, and I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, I really like the way my room is set up currently, because it's nice, because I have the Mac over there that I never use, and don't worry, it's not an expensive one, it's a shitty one. It's a free one I got from school, and it's a old one. I'll show you. It's that thing. It's a blocky motherfucker. But yeah, so where was that? I think it was like that roughly. Maybe a little over still. Yeah, I don't know. I'm very like antsy about like the way I have my camera. But yeah, I'm surprised I haven't flipped the camera yet, because normally, as you probably know, I have it flipped. So, and as you can tell by my shirt, I definitely don't. But yeah, so it's normally this way. But yeah, there was a point like before I had the camera flipped, because the only reason it's flipped or it's not flipped is because when I did the 12-hour, was gonna do the 12-hour stream, but then YouTube said fuck you. I had 6 years of the Dark Wolf Show on the whiteboard. So, and if you caught any of my Twitch streams since then, it said it, but I recently erased it because I had a Zoom call for school, and I was like, I don't want that. I don't want that on there. I don't want people asking questions. But basically I had that, and I was like, it's gonna be backwards. So I was like, I'll just flip it. And I always go back and forth whether I want the camera over here or I want it like right here on the other side of the monitor, so I don't have to flip it for it to look like I'm looking to the left. But I much prefer it this way. But once I had the whiteboard, I was like, it's gonna be backwards. I don't know how I feel about that, but I've learned to just write backwards. I'm not good by any means, so if you see me write stuff, it's not gonna look good, and my handwriting's gonna look shitty. But I'll show you what my handwriting actually looks like. That's what it looks like. Yeah, that's a decent representation. There's also apparently just a ploy to get Hey Bud back on the board. Because the whole reason that started, the whole reason that was a thing was because we were gonna do the birthday stream, and I had it set up where the table is gonna be here, right here. I'd be touching the table right now if it were here, and then the whiteboard would barely be in the background. It'd be like how it's set up right now. I think it would have been actually like this angle, basically, because it was like just barely here. So it may have been like just barely over like right here or something, but the whiteboard like barely snuck into the frame. So I was like, I'll just put Hey Bud on the board. So that's how that crazy story originated. How that crazy bit originated. But no. Yeah, I don't know. I've only been streaming for 15 minutes. Ugh. But yeah, I don't know. I've been having fun with videos recently, because it's been a grand old time. I'll say it. I'll say it. Me and Jack, we recorded a podcast on Wednesday, and that should go out next Thursday. Or wait, no, I don't know when it's going out actually. It's going out sometime later next week, but yeah. So that's that. We recorded a podcast, and that shit, it's pretty neat. It's better than, it's for one the longest one we've done, and then for two it's the one of the better ones we've done, I think, because there was a much better back and forth than before, I think. But yeah, I don't know. It went for like just under an hour and a half, so it's a long one. Who the hell is Jack? That's my cousin, Gingy. But yeah. Yeah, that should be going out sometime next week. Because it's not hard to edit that. It's just, I need to make sure there's no dead air, and then I'm just like, okay, there we go. This is good. Play flats? No. It's not what this stream's about. It's about drinking coffee and talking. And I've accomplished both. I don't think I've told this on stream or whatever, but Gingy, you know this story, but we were sitting in a Discord call, and Mason had said something, and fuck, this isn't gonna archive. Fuck, damn it, son of a bitch. God damn, because I hate with the YouTube streaming thing, it resets every so often. So it resets, so you have to re-add in your description, you need to re-add a thumbnail, or else it's just your banner. I fucking hate YouTube streaming so much, because you have to fuck, a duck. God damn, I fucking hate YouTube streaming. It's so bad. But basically, back to the story. We were sitting in a Discord call, and Mason had said something that was funny to me. I had just taken a sip of coffee, and it just went out my nose, and it felt very goony. It like dripped down into my mouth, and that's how I realized. And it was a taste of snot and it was gross. God damn it, I wanted this to say fuck a duck. Well, guess if you're not in the stream, you don't get to know. I don't. God damn it! Why does it do that? It should save. Like, if it resets the thumbnail, fine. I was gonna change it anyway. If it resets the title, okay. If it resets the description, oh well, I'll just re-add it. But don't fucking change the stream options. I forget that's a goddamn thing. Because it has like enable DVR where people can scroll back up to 12 hours apparently. Make archive unlisted, which it resets stupidly. It should just be a standard thing where you're just like, hey, I want all my streams to save after the fact, and if I don't want to, I'll uncheck the damn thing. God damn it. Oh, that hurt. And then just the latency setting. God fucking damn it. I don't like YouTube streaming. I could disable chat? Dope. What would be the point though? Imagine having one viewer. Fuck you. You stream, see if you have a viewer. Yeah, I don't know. The channel's nice and close to 100 because I was watching older videos the other day just on my phone, or the other night on my phone, and I'd like pulled up because I don't know if it's the same on like Android and stuff, but on Apple or on iPhone, if you're watching a video, you can like swipe up and it'll show like the recommended videos. I'll show you. Oh, of course I get an ad. But yeah, so if you're watching a video and then you swipe up, then you can see the recommended videos for you. And it also shows your channel and it says how many subscribers you had. And how many subscribers you have. And I swiped up and I saw that because the channel's at 93, I think. Or the channel was at 93 at that point, yeah, it's still at 93, but I saw that and I was like, wait a minute, is it already at 98? Because I had my glasses off and I didn't have contacts, and obviously because I was going to bed. I don't know if I mentioned that part, but I was going to bed. And I saw that and I was like, wait a minute, and I had to like look closer and squint a little bit, and I was like, what? And then I saw that it was 98 or 93, and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, the channel's blowing up because the views on the last couple of videos I've put out, holy hell have they been doing good. It's been like a standard of like 10 views per video, and that is dope. But yeah, the projected thing on Social Blade, I think it said I would hit 100 in a month. That was like a week ago or something like that. Let's check. Wait, oh, I forgot how to check future projections. It says in 2 months it'll be 98. That's not gonna be true because the channel, it might be true, but the channel's been skyrocketing as of late comparative to what it was last year. And then I'll be at 105 in 4 months. When am I projected to hit 1,000? In 4 years and 2 months, but that'll be at a 1025, so it'll probably be like more so 4 years from now, assuming I'm still doing this. Hopefully I will. I mean, I've come this far. I've been doing this damn thing for 6 years. Who knew I would be doing that shit? Holy hell. Who knew I'd be doing this for 6 years? That's crazy. Because I never really got to talk about it. I think I mentioned it briefly in the 990 subscriber video. It's great. If I went back and told my younger self that I'd be doing video, you'd still be doing videos your junior year, that it'd also be a pandemic your junior year, and everyone has to go into lockdown, I'd be like, what's a pandemic? First of all, but then also I'd be like, nice, I'm still doing it, hell yeah. And then I'd also tell myself, save every single video you make because your channel gets deleted. And I'd be like, what? And I'd be like, I've said too much already. And I'd get back into the DeLorean, get to 88 miles per hour, and come back to 2020. This shithole. I watched Back to the Future recently. That's why I thought I made that joke. Those movies are fucking great. Those are probably some of my favorite movies of all time, because Back to the Future is a fucking great movie. It's probably one of my favorite of all time. God, that's a good movie. I also watched the Hangover movies. 3, I've heard that 3 is not good, but granted, it is a much different premise from the other two. There's no hangover, but it has to do with the same characters. But God, Hangover 3 is a good movie. I heard bad things about it. It's not a great hangover movie, admittedly, but it's a good standalone movie. Holy, Hangover 3 is good. The Hangover 1 is good because it's like the first of the kind of movies that those 3 are. But then it's 3, so this is my ranking. It's Hangover 1, Hangover 3, Hangover 2, because Hangover 2 is just a rehash of Hangover 1. So, yeah. Was 3 the one with the giraffe? Hell yeah, it was. Hell yeah, it was. It's the one where Alan, Zach Galifianakis' character, it's the one where Alan is just, in the beginning, is just off his meds, he's off his rocker, and he's a goofy fella. And also his dad dies, and they're like, hey, you need help. And then, I guess I'm spoiling it, but then they need to get gold from Chow to give to John Goodman. And then Chow says that the gold is stashed in one of his old houses, and it turns out being John Goodman's house, and they just stole the other half of the gold that they had to get him, or that he already had, but they had to steal half of the gold that Chow stole from him. But yeah, it's a good movie. I really like 3. Car and giraffe. Yeah, that was I don't know how I feel about that part, because the CGI for one is kind of goofy. It's goony. The CGI is goony, but also just the fact that I don't think that would happen. I think it just snaps. It's like, talking in the realms of reality, the way that would happen is he'd be going, and then the giraffe's neck would probably snap. Well, I don't know with the impact, but its neck would probably just like get jolted backwards and maybe break its, and it would definitely break its neck. But I don't know that the head would just just the head would fly off. It's also an odd circumstance that it fell nose first, like the big ass thing that it has on its face. Like, I don't know what you call, like, the nose and the mouth or whatever, but it's a very good circumstances that it just fell right into the windshield of the car behind him. Just saying. But yeah, no, those are good movies. 2 is kind of lackluster, but I don't know. I'd still watch it. If it were on TV, I might watch it. No, I wouldn't, because I don't watch TV. But no, those are really good movies. Cause I've always heard like my parents would watch them, and I'd be like, oh, I've heard, and like I'd hear people talk about them, and I'd be like, hey, I've heard the name. I don't know anything about the movies. I know they probably get hung over, but then I recently, because I've been going through watching just like movies and stuff that are like, oh, that I hear a lot about, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna watch this thing. I'm gonna watch this movie. I'm gonna watch this because I had finished watching Back to the Future movies, and then I was like, I kind of want to watch The Hangover because I saw that it was on Netflix, and I was like, I'm gonna watch that, and then I ended up watching the other three, or the other two, I mean, but yeah. But we're getting to the point of the stream where the whole reason I did this stream is because I have an important thing to show. You want to know what that thing is? It's a trailer. It's a trailer for me and the Flats Fellas against the King of Flats. So, basically, I threw this together last night. I'm really proud of it. And the trailer will be going up standalone later tonight. But, basically, I'm going to go to that right now. And here we go. Let's watch the trailer. Hopefully this all works. Because this is the scene I added at the beginning of the stream. But, let's go. Hold on. I'm going to fix that since I didn't realize that it was going to be small. Okay? Let's go.
King of Flats.
This is awesome. This is amazing. This is happening.
I said it was an honor to face you. I said what do you think? He said thank you.
Oh! This is technically a collab. And there it is, crowning the King of Flats this Sunday, the event of the quarantine. Yeah, I said that right. I wasn't sure if I had said that right or not, but yeah, that's the trailer. I'm really proud of it because when I first made it, I was like, there's something missing, there's something I can change. But now looking back at it, after editing it and uploading it, just to go out later tonight, but is that what it says? No. Is that really what it fucking says? It does not say that. It does not say that.
King of Flats.
He's already crowned. King of Flats already signed off on the title. He said it's alright, and I like it, so. You can fuck off, Gingy. Gingy, I hope you're fucking with me. No, it does say crowing. I'm so glad. I am so glad that you're in the stream. I am so glad you're in the stream, Gingy. Or else I would have just went through and I did not notice that whatsoever. I've watched it like 4 or 5 times now. I didn't notice that. Thank God you're in the stream. Thank God you're in the stream. You should change the title. No, I like the title. But yeah, that's, I think, it for the stream, because it's been a bit and I still need to shower because I feel gross. Because my hair, it keeps molding to my neck. I don't know if that's the right word, but it feels gross. But yeah, so that's that. Okay. Bye.